The Toyota RAV4 Hybrid is the default answer to almost every SUV question in America. Somebody asks, "What should I buy?" and three people immediately say, RAV4. Chuckles. It has become less of a recommendation and more of a reflex, and I understand why. It is genuinely a good vehicle. I have defended it in other videos, and I will defend it again today. But there is a specific reason that reflex is a mistake in 2026, and it has nothing to do with the RAV4 being unreliable. Curious. The 2026 RAV4 is a complete ground-up redesign. New generation, new platform work, now hybrid across the entire lineup. And here is the part almost nobody mentions when they recommend it. Consumer Reports does not assign a predicted reliability rating to the first model year of a complete redesign. They will not rate it. And their own guidance to shoppers is to steer clear of newly introduced or newly redesigned vehicles in their initial model year, because that is when they are almost always the most problematic. That is not my opinion. That is the most rigorous consumer testing organization in the country telling you to wait. So the question becomes, wait and buy what? And that is where this video is different from every other RAV4 alternatives list you have seen. I am not going to give you the same 5 comparisons every channel makes. You already know about the CR-V. You already know about the Tucson and the Sportage. Everybody knows. I am giving you 5 SUVs that are genuinely overlooked. Vehicles sitting on lots right now that solve the exact problem the RAV4 solves, and in some cases solve it better, and almost nobody is talking about them. One of them is built by Toyota themselves, and most Toyota shoppers have never heard of it. Let me start with number 5. Before I name them, let me explain why perfectly good vehicles end up invisible, because understanding this will save you money on every car you ever buy. Vehicles do not get overlooked because they are bad. They get overlooked for 3 reasons, and none of them have anything to do with engineering. The first is being overshadowed within their own brand. Every automaker has a hero model that absorbs all the attention and all the advertising budget. The vehicles parked next to it in the same showroom, often sharing the same engine and the same reliability record, get almost no airtime. 2 vehicles on my list today are in exactly that position. The second is body style prejudice. If something is shaped a little differently, a little longer and lower, a little more wagon than boxy SUV, a large portion of buyers mentally filter it out before they ever read a single specification. That is a styling reaction, not an engineering judgment, and it is why some of the best engineered vehicles on the market sit on lots. The third is price positioning. When a vehicle sits in an awkward spot, more expensive than the mainstream choice but cheaper than the obvious luxury option, shoppers do not know which category to put it in, so they skip it entirely. That happens to 2 vehicles on this list, and in both cases, the value is genuinely there once you actually run the numbers. Here is why this matters right now, in this specific model year. When a vehicle is ignored, dealers have inventory sitting. When dealers have inventory sitting, you have leverage. Compare that to walking into a Toyota store to buy the newest, most in-demand RAV4 in years, where the dealer knows exactly how badly you want it, and prices accordingly. So this is not a charity list of underdogs. These are 5 genuinely good vehicles where being overlooked is your advantage.
Number 5 is the Subaru Crosstrek, and it gets ignored for the most straightforward reason on this list. It stands next to the Forester. Subaru buyers walk in thinking, Forester, because the Forester is the famous one. It wins the awards, it gets the coverage, it is the name people know. And the Crosstrek sits right there, sharing the brand's engineering philosophy, quietly being one of the smartest affordable buys in America while everyone walks past it. Here is what you are walking past. Consumer Reports named the Crosstrek their best subcompact SUV for 2026, and it is the least expensive SUV on their recommended list, starting around $28,400, including destination. That is roughly $4,000 to $5,000 less than a RAV4 Hybrid before any dealer adds a market adjustment on top. And for that lower price, you get something the RAV4 makes you pay extra for. All-wheel drive, standard, on every single Crosstrek. Not a package, not an option box. Standard on the cheapest one on the lot. And Subaru builds it with a permanent mechanical connection to all 4 wheels, rather than an electronic system that waits to detect slip before it reacts. The hybrid version returns 35 miles per gallon in Consumer Reports' own testing, which genuinely rivals larger compact SUV hybrids while giving you a vehicle that actually fits in a city parking space. Subaru also took the top overall brand spot in Consumer Reports' 2026 report card for the second consecutive year. Now the honest trade-offs, because you deserve the full picture. It is smaller than a RAV4, meaningfully so, and if you regularly carry 4 adults and their luggage, you will feel that. It is not fast. The boxer engine and continuously variable transmission are tuned for endurance rather than excitement, and merging with a full load requires planning. And the interior, while well built, is plain compared to what Hyundai and Kia are doing at this price. Who should actually buy it? The single commuter? The couple? The city dweller? Or anyone in snow country who wants genuine all-weather capability without paying the RAV4 premium? If your honest assessment is that you rarely fill all 5 seats, you are about to overpay for space you will not use. Number 4 is the Mazda CX-50, and it is ignored because of its own sibling. Everyone knows the CX-5. It has been Mazda's reliability workhorse for over a decade. The CX-50 sits beside it, gets confused for it, and loses the sale. Here is what makes the CX-50 worth its own look. Sit inside one without checking the badge and try to guess the price. Soft touch materials on every surface your hand reaches. Real physical knobs that click with precision instead of a glass panel you have to look at while driving. A rotary controller on the console you can operate entirely by feel. That interior quality gap between Mazda and the mainstream competition is the single most underrated value in this segment, and against a base RAV4, the difference is not subtle. It is embarrassing. Underneath, Mazda made the decision this channel keeps praising. While nearly the entire industry shrank engines and bolted turbochargers on them, Mazda kept naturally aspirated engines as the backbone of the lineup. That approach earned the Skyactiv family recognition on Ward's 10 Best Engines and Engineering Awards from SAE International. And here is a piece of context that matters enormously, because Mazda's reputation took real damage recently, and I want you to understand exactly where. Consumer Reports dropped Mazda 8 places in their 2026 brand ranking, and that drop was driven almost entirely by the CX-70 and CX-90, which launched on an all-new architecture with a new engine and Mazda's first plug-in hybrid system. That is the risky path. But in that same December report, Consumer Reports ranks Mazda 3rd out of 26 brands for long-term used vehicle reliability, behind only Lexus and Toyota. The CX-50 sits on Mazda's mature architecture, not the troubled new one, and that distinction is worth real money to you. The honest trade-offs. There is no full hybrid version of the CX-50 in the mainstream lineup the way the RAV4 offers, so on pure fuel economy, the Toyota wins clearly. Rear seat space is adequate rather than generous, and Mazda's dealer network is smaller than Toyota's, which matters in rural areas. Who should buy it? The driver who spends real time behind the wheel and wants that time to feel good, and who values interior quality and driving feel over squeezing out every last mile per gallon. Number 3 is the Kia Sorento Hybrid, and this one is ignored for a genuinely odd reason. Kia has 2 famous SUVs, the Telluride above it and the Sportage below it, and the Sorento sits between them, getting squeezed from both directions. Here is the credential that should stop you. According to CarEdge reporting on Consumer Reports data, the Sorento Hybrid was the top-ranked 3-row SUV in Consumer Reports' most recent reliability survey. Out of every 3-row SUV on the market, the one owners reported the fewest problems with was this Kia. And there is a detail that makes it more remarkable still. It is one of the few models where the hybrid version is actually more reliable than the gas-only version. Normally, adding hybrid complexity adds risk. Here, it did the opposite. Now, the part that makes this a genuine RAV4 alternative rather than a different category. The Sorento Hybrid returns up to 37 miles per gallon combined in front-wheel drive and 34 with all-wheel drive. Those are compact SUV numbers in a vehicle with 3 rows of seats. You are getting a 3rd row essentially for free from a fuel economy standpoint. Kia also made a smart engineering choice. Rather than a continuously variable transmission, the Sorento Hybrid uses a conventional 6-speed automatic with an integrated electric motor. A traditional automatic with real gears is a well-understood, durable design, and it eliminates the droning sensation some drivers dislike in other hybrids. Add the 10-year 100,000-mile powertrain warranty, which is double what Toyota offers, and the ownership math gets interesting. The honest trade-offs. That third row is best for children or for adults on shorter trips, not for hauling grown adults across the country. Kia's resale value still trails Toyota, though the gap has narrowed considerably. And the current generation, while refreshed, is not brand new, which is exactly what you want for reliability, but means the styling is not the freshest on the lot. Who should buy it? The family that occasionally needs 6 or 7 seats and does not want to give up fuel economy the rest of the time. If you have been looking at a RAV4, knowing you will need more space within 2 years, this solves that problem today. Number 2 is the Lexus NX350H, and this is the one that makes people uncomfortable when I bring it up, because it exposes something about how Toyota structures its lineup. Most RAV4 shoppers never walk into a Lexus dealership. They see the badge, they assume a completely different price universe, and they never look. Here is what they are missing. The NX350H shares its fundamental platform and its hybrid architecture with the RAV4 Hybrid. Same basic engineering, same Toyota hybrid system that earned all that reliability reputation. But every complaint RAV4 owners have has been addressed in the Lexus. The engine drone that bothers people during highway merging, absorbed by additional sound insulation, thicker glass, and better door seals. The interior that feels a generation behind, replaced with genuine premium materials. The overall sense that you are in an appliance, gone. And Lexus is not just prettier. Consumer Reports ranks Lexus among the very top brands for reliability year after year, and in J.D. Power's February 2026 dependability study, Lexus led the entire industry with 151 problems per 100 vehicles against an industry average of 204. Not top 5, first, out of every brand sold in America. Now here is the argument that changes the math, and I want you to actually run this yourself. The gap between a RAV4 Hybrid and an NX350H looks enormous on the sticker, but right now, dealers are adding market adjustments to the newly redesigned RAV4 because demand is high, while Lexus dealers are generally selling closer to actual price. Then factor in that Lexus vehicles hold their value exceptionally well, so a larger portion of what you paid comes back at resale. The real-world gap over an 8-year ownership period is dramatically smaller than the 2 window stickers suggest. The honest trade-offs. It still costs more up front, and if your budget is genuinely firm in the low 30s, this is out of reach, and one of the other 4 is your answer. It prefers premium fuel, and the cabin is cozier than a RAV4, so if maximum interior space is the priority, this is the wrong direction. Who should buy it? The buyer keeping the vehicle a long time who wants those years to be quiet and comfortable, riding on the same proven hybrid hardware. And number 1 is the vehicle almost nobody knows exists, built by the exact same company, sitting in the exact same showroom as the RAV4, the Toyota Crown Signia. Let me describe what this actually is, because most people watching have never seen one. It is a mid-size 2-row hybrid with standard all-wheel drive, replacing the discontinued Venza, with a longer and lower shape that reads more like a wagon than a traditional boxy SUV. It runs Toyota's 2.5-litre hybrid system, producing 240 horsepower, and it sits on roughly the same footprint as a Highlander. Here is why it belongs at number 1 on a list about vehicles you are ignoring. A how-to geek analysis called it an overlooked hybrid that is a smart, long-term buy built to last, noting it has been overshadowed by its pricing and by competition from slightly cheaper Lexus hybrid SUVs. Now the numbers, and they are genuinely impressive. EPA rated 39 miles per gallon city, 37 highway, 38 combined on regular gasoline, with a total driving range of 551 miles. And real-world testing beats the sticker. A US news reviewer covering nearly 400 miles across highways, mountain driving, and urban traffic recorded 42 miles per gallon from a vehicle weighing over 4,000 pounds. A verified owner review reported 43 miles per gallon in mixed driving and said, after previously owning both a Subaru Outback and a Volvo XC90, that the Crown Signia was way nicer and more trouble-free. The interior is where it genuinely separates from the RAV4. Leather upholstery standard. Heated and ventilated front seats standard. Dual 12.3-inch screens under a single pane of glass. Reviewers consistently describe the cabin as feeling like a Lexus rather than a mainstream Toyota. And it is in its second model year now, not its first, which, by the logic that opened this video, is exactly where you want to be. The honest trade-offs, and they are real. Cargo space is the big one. 25.8 cubic feet behind the rear seats, which is less than a RAV4, because that sleek roofline prioritizes aerodynamics over boxy utility. If you get the Limited with the panoramic roof, it drops further, and headroom gets tight for taller passengers. Some owners report engine noise under hard acceleration, and many trims omit a spare tyre, which makes some owners uneasy on long trips. And it starts in the low 40s, so it is not cheap. Who should buy it? The buyer who wants Toyota hybrid reliability with a genuinely premium cabin, does not need maximum cargo volume, and would rather not drive the same vehicle as everyone else on the block. As that owner put it, it is kind of nice not to have the same car as everyone else.
So let me be completely clear about what I am and am not saying, because I do not want anyone walking away with the wrong idea. The RAV4 Hybrid is not a bad vehicle. Toyota builds excellent hybrids, and the underlying technology in the RAV4 is the same technology I recommend constantly. My argument is narrower and more specific than the title suggests, and here it is. In 2026 specifically, you are being asked to pay a premium, and often a dealer markup on top of that premium, to be among the first buyers of a completely redesigned vehicle that the most rigorous testing organization in the country will not even rate yet, and whose own published guidance tells shoppers to avoid first-year redesigns. That is a genuinely poor deal, and it has nothing to do with whether Toyota builds good cars. Meanwhile, 5 vehicles are sitting on lots right now that nobody is fighting over. The Crosstrek if you want to spend the least and still get standard all-wheel drive. The CX-50 if you want an interior that feels like it cost $15,000 more. The Sorento Hybrid if you need a third row without a fuel economy penalty, from the most reliable 3-row SUV in the survey. The NX350H if you want the same Toyota hybrid engineering wrapped in the brand that led the entire industry in dependability. And the Crown Signia if you want Toyota reliability with a Lexus-grade cabin and 40+ real-world miles per gallon. Here is my actual advice. Go drive at least 2 of these before you sign anything on a RAV4. Not because the RAV4 is wrong for you. It might be exactly right, but because a decision you make by reflex is not really a decision, and this is $40,000. Now I want to hear from you, and specifically from 2 groups. If you own any of these 5, tell everyone in the comments what it is actually like to live with, because there are not enough owner reviews out there on some of these and yours genuinely matters. And if you bought a RAV4 after cross-shopping these, tell me what made you choose it, because I want to hear that side too. Take care of yourselves out there, and I will see you in the next one.